25. So I am inviting people onto this adventure with me, and this adventure in this new territory we have to explore is what some call the spirit spheres. And the people who experience the spirit spheres are often so affected by it that they can't even talk about it for years and years and years. So that's one similarity, and there's a whole list of similarities. Um, and someone I just discovered is Dr. Lynda Cramer from Australia. And I want to point out one of these similarities. I'm reading her book now. She's in a field of flowers, and she says, and their colors were not of Earth's color spectrum. And then a little ways down, she says, and in these little extensions of energy, there was also that connection of consciousness that everything here possessed. So this is Dr. Lynda Cramer's book, 5 Years in Heaven. And I'm pointing out that the flowers are colors not on Earth, and that the flowers have a consciousness. And this is something you see over and over again, not only in the modern day near-death experiences, but in books going back 100 years, over 100 years. Francezzo, I often read about I often read from Francezzo, and Francezzo talks about these flowers. Trees waved their branches in welcome to me, and the flowers blossomed everywhere, while at my feet was the shining river, and across it the golden gates. Okay, so I'm going to start listing things in common that they all talk about. They all talk about the light that knows and loves you, the flowers that are happy to see you, trees that wave to you. And here's another one. Here's another interesting one. This is Francezzo. I'll link this down below, and I'll link Dr. Cramer's YouTube page. He says, I had taken no heed of my clothing, and as I landed on the farther side, I looked to see myself dripping with water, but in a moment I found my clothing as dry as could be. So what we have here is water that doesn't make you wet. Water that when you swim in it feels great, and you get out and you're perfectly dry. This happens in a number of these books, and I don't see how any of these authors were conversant with each other. So Rebecca Springer swims, and she's worried she's ruined her dress. She gets out, she's perfectly dry. Francezzo, writing in a different country altogether, swims, gets out, it's perfectly dry. He sees these flowers just like Howard Storm. Howard Storm was an art teacher. He knows the color spectrum. He sees flowers in colors that do not exist on Earth. So what you have here is a light that loves you and knows you, flowers in colors we can't even imagine, flowers that are conscious and happy to see you, water that doesn't make you wet, lakes and boats. He goes on to describe boats. Hugh Benson from World Unseen describes these boats. Rebecca Springer from Intramuros describes these boats. Francezzo talks